All right, well, I think we're a few minutes past the hour, so I think we'll get us going for the sake of everyone's time and getting into why we're all here. Um, well, yeah, thanks everyone for joining us tonight for our emergency response campfire chat. Your unwavering support during this time is so appreciated and valued, and so thank you so much for taking time tonight to be here. My name is Tina Bathurst. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the EarthCorps Board Vice President. I've served on the board for 5 years, and I am an EarthCorps alum, having served 2 years as a Corps member in 2016 and 17. And tonight, I am your host and moderator for this conversation. And so before we get started, I want to share a little bit about what you can expect from tonight, also set some ground rules as well. So we'll get started tonight with panelist introductions, and from there we will move into addressing the current and future state of EarthCorps. During this time, we invite you to submit any questions that have come up for you that are on your mind using the Q&A function on Zoom. You can find that on the bottom bar across your screen. When you do submit a question, please include your name so that if we aren't able to get to it, we can follow up with you. And on that note, because we are constrained by time tonight, we may not be able to get to all questions, but we will record all of them and make sure to follow up as much as we can, and know that this won't be the last time that we have these conversations. And lastly, we're all here because we love EarthCorps and care about it so very much. So I please request from all of you to be respectful to one another, even if you hear something that you might not disagree with, or that aligns with your perspective. And so please bring that care with you as you approach your questions and and what you choose to share in the Q&A function with you tonight. And so with that, we'll get started. I'll pass it over to Shanon Tysland, the EarthCorps Board President.
Thank you, Kana. Hi, everyone. My name is Shanon Tysland. I've served as the board president for EarthCorps for the past 2 years. I've been a board member since 2005 years ago, so 2020. And I've been a volunteer of EarthCorps for over a decade. And I think I never forget one of my favorite memories of EarthCorps was volunteering on the Duwamish River and doing a cleanup and watching this scuba diver come up out of the river while we were doing a cleanup, come on shore and talk to us about all the restoration projects EarthCorps and the community are doing to restore the Duwamish River. And I was just hooked, if you will. So super passionate about EarthCorps, the work we're doing, and how we can continue to do this work moving forward. Super grateful that you've joined us, and looking forward to having a dialogue and conversation now and moving into the future. So thank you so much for joining, and I'll turn it over to Elizabeth.
Hi, everyone. It's lovely to be here with you tonight. My name is Elizabeth White, and I am the program director at EarthCorps. I've had the honor of working and growing at EarthCorps since 2002, when I joined as a Corps member and a crew leader. And I'm got to say, I'm really excited to see the list of alumni that are on this call. Hi, you all out there. Mikey and Liz and AJ and a few Beths, and it's lovely. Kato, like, hi everyone. I'm excited to share some news with you. My career at EarthCorps over the past 20 years has been spent on our volunteer team as a project manager, moving on to our program staff in 2014. And then in 2020, I stepped up as our program director. And in that role, it is my privilege to get to look to the future of our programming, ensuring that we are fostering the development of the leaders that we get to welcome into our program. I also bring the input of Corps members to the director's level conversation and ensure that they are represented there and at the board level. And up until a few weeks ago, I managed our relationship with AmeriCorps. And I think with that, we can transition to sharing some information with you all about this. So I'm going to do that. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we got here, and where we're headed, and sort of talk with you for a little bit. So this journey started on April 25th. We received a notice from the State Service Commission at the very end of the day, informing us that our AmeriCorps grant of $735,000 had been terminated effective immediately, and that all of our 35 serving AmeriCorps members were also immediately terminated. Their service was complete. It was a moment. I think one of the hardest, hands down, that I've had in my life, and definitely at EarthCorps. It was big. And as a community, we came together and shared the information that was possible and began the process of moving forward. All guidance that we had gotten from the State Service Commission to that point had really been focused on meeting the challenge of funding for next year. Really because contract law is a thing. And the assurances was that contract law would hold, but that upon the next grant competition cycle, funds would be less and applications would be higher. So we were preparing scenarios for that. This was something that was our worst of worst case. Over the last 3 weeks, we have come together and undertaken the extraordinary task of rebuilding our organization to navigate this sudden loss of funding. And it's not just funding, it's also status in a national service program, right? And the classifications and the benefits that gave to our members. As we navigated through this, our guiding principles remained to be grounded in our commitments to the Corps members, to EarthCorps staff, and to the community that we serve. And we have worked to lead and make decisions with the values of integrity and transparency, compassion, and intentionality as the foundation. And I feel so lucky to have the team of people that I have gotten to work with over the last 3 weeks, and the community. Y'all have been fantastic, reaching out in so many ways and supporting us through this just really hard time. I'll share a little bit about where we're headed for the program, and then I'll turn it over to Shannon to expand on that more. I want to say, we remain deeply, deeply committed to running a Corps that can meet the current needs of our movement and of our moment. We know that fostering the development of our next generation of environmental leaders is a task that cannot stop. Nothing can stop. So we're really looking to many models to move this forward. We're looking to Conservation Corps roots. We're reimagining them and kind of reweaving them into a slightly different shape. This restructured model that we have built brings on our Corps members as term limited employees. So they will be employees of EarthCorps through December 17th. And it elevates our ECC, or our flagship program crew leaders, and our community and volunteer team crew leader to the level of crew supervisor. Our goal is in 2026 to move these crew supervisors into permanent positions. And we believe with this increased level of experience in coaching and field skills, community engagement, and leadership development, this is really going to deepen the growth of our Corps members, to speed that up, and to give them that more one-on-one, closer ratio coaching that we think that they deserve. And it's really going to enhance both the quality of our program and our work out on the land and in the community. So bulleted list of this, we're transitioning Corps members into an employee role. We're maintaining our commitments to the best of our ability in the community and to the land. And we're working to raise money to get us through to this next thing as we evolve. And with that, I'll pass it to Shanon.
Awesome. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to extend my gratitude to Elizabeth and the entire director team at EarthCorps who has been working around the clock for the last 3 weeks to get us to where we are today. And I think I want to back up even a little bit more than April 25th, and I want to back up to February 1st. And on February 1st, EarthCorps had our annual board staff retreat. Once a year, all the staff, all the board members get together and we talk about what are the goals for the year, what is the plans for the year, how are we going to accomplish the task at hand. And on February 1st, we had received news hinting that we should eliminate anything that has to do with environmental justice from EarthCorps' mission, website. And if we didn't comply, we would be at risk of losing our federal funding. So this was the conversation and the debate we had in a room for a solid couple hours. And we decided we're not going to comply. We're not going to remove our mission from the website. We're not going to remove the work we're doing around environmental justice. And it was a really hard conversation. But I was so proud of everyone in that room who was willing to stand for the mission of EarthCorps and risk losing all of the federal funding. And then we fast forward to April 25th when we got the news. And as Elizabeth said, now we are in this major pivot. But we had created a task force ahead of time to work through and plan and prepare for what might be coming on April 25th. And it was grounded in our mission and who we are. And so while this year has just been a year of unprecedented challenge, unprecedented, and it's just not for EarthCorps, but for the environmental nonprofits across the country. Like, we are under attack. And the elimination of AmeriCorps funding was not just a policy change, it was a blow to the core infrastructure of national service and environmental justice. But we're still standing. And again, I'm just so proud of this director team for coming together. How are we going to do this? How are we going to pivot to make EarthCorps 2.0 into the future? And as we're going through this, like, there's an intellectual portion, but then there's also this emotional portion. As a board member for 5 years, having and hearing this news, even though you knew it might be coming, it just like sucked the wind out of you. And for a moment, you're like, I'm going to put the towel in. Like, how much more can we go against this machine of this federal government? But then it was like, absolutely not. And I love the resiliency of this director team, of this board of directors. And we were tested and we chose resilience. And I'm just so proud of everyone there. And I thank everyone for being on this call tonight. Because rather than retreat, we're committed to reimagining the future. What could EarthCorps grow into? What could this be? And I know this chapter has not been easy by any stretch of the imagination. There's nothing easy about what we are experiencing and going through, but it's forced us to clarify who we are, what we're a stand for, and how we're going to evolve. And our mission has not changed. How we do it might look different, but the what we do and who we do it for is not changing. So I know we're stepping into this bold new era in EarthCorps that we want to create to be more sustainable, more equitable, and more rooted in environmental justice than ever before. And for the first time in our history, we're breaking free from the federal service dependency and building this future where our crew members are not volunteers, they're employees. They're respected. They've always been respected, but now they get to be compensated with benefits and integrated into a green workplace pipeline. And I think this shift is going to empower EarthCorps to create long-term environmental jobs for the future and train the next generation of climate leaders. And we need them now more than ever. And without waiting for federal permission to do it. So for that, I'm very, very excited. And we have made some really tough decisions to ensure that EarthCorps remains mission-driven and financially viable. It's not one or the other. Every decision that has been being made is taking both of those into account. And that has included staff reductions. And those are changes that we're not going to dwell on today. But those have allowed us to restructure towards long-term impact and equity. And we're also deepening our focus on our local partnerships. We need to lean into those communities that have gotten us to where we are and the new future and vision that EarthCorps created in its strat plan 3 years ago. So we are ensuring that we do the work that reflects the communities we serve. And while this might be a reaction, I think it's a transformation. And I think we're moving from dependency to determination. And we're moving from surviving, like we've been in survival mode 2025. And this pivot allows us to thrive. And we have a new executive director coming in on May 27th. And this gal is awesome and committed to moving the mission of EarthCorps forward. For me personally, there's a book I've read, and it's called Managing Transitions. And I like to reference this book because EarthCorps is going through a major transition right now. And in this book, Dr. Bridges talks about there's 3 phases that we go through. And the first phase is the letting go. And in the letting go, it's the letting go of what was. And I know we have a lot of core members on this call with us tonight. And we no longer have an EarthCorps. And so there's a loss with that. There's a letting go of what was, and with that comes all of these emotions. And then as we work through this letting go, we move in this phase of the unknown. And right now, EarthCorps is living in the unknown. And we need to embrace the unknown. But within the unknown, we get to create where we want to go. And the final phase, the third phase of this managing transition, is the new beginning. And the new beginning won't take place, shape, or form for months from now. But we get to imagine and reimagine what EarthCorps could be, the best version of itself. And then we can look back and say, wow, look what we have gone through. We've gone through the valley of darkness to get to this point of light. And within that, I think we will all be more connected to help move this mission forward. So that's what I have to say. Thank you so much for being here. We want to open this up for some questions. And I think before we do that, I do want to say, this moment in time is an opportunity. And it's an opportunity for all of us. Everyone on the screen has been a supporter of EarthCorps. And I think this moment demands a vision, and vision requires community. And you all are our community. And the future of EarthCorps is written not only by the staff, by the leadership, by the board, but it's written by you, our supporters, our volunteers, our funders. And you're not just funding a nonprofit, you get to co-create the future where young people of all backgrounds are equipped to lead, where nature is restored and protected, and where equity is not a goal, but a starting point. So as we care for the lands of the Puget Sound region, we also care for the people who will inherit it. One of my favorite quotes is indigenous proverb. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. So we need to be the leaders that empower the communities we serve and the systems we change. And it's all of us. And so I'm excited you are here tonight and would love to turn it back to Kana to potentially take some questions. Unless I missed anything, Elizabeth.
You did great, Shanon.
Awesome.
Yeah, great job, both of you. Thank you, Shanon, for those inspirational words. So as I mentioned earlier, if you have a question that came up for you lingering on your mind, please use the Q&A function on the bottom bar of your screen to submit a question. But it looks like we have a couple, so I'll get started with those, but feel free to continue sending in questions as they come up for you. So first question I have here for both of you is EarthCorps planning to sue for breach of contract or join a class action with other organizations?
Elizabeth, do you want to take that?
I can share a little bit
Yeah.
about the current litigation. So Washington State has actually sued on our behalf. We have joined a coalition of 23 other states that have brought suit against AmeriCorps. And this is currently being tried in a district in Maryland. And we are awaiting news. But the word is that there will be a hearing on Monday in which a possible injunction may on the termination of funds may occur. And so we'll know more next week about what that looks like. If that injunction were to move into place, that would impact us positively.
The next question I have here is, I understand there were layoffs. Can you talk about that? Can you also address the emergency fund and if that will be tapped?
I will take a first stab at this. And I think there has been a restructure. There has been several layoffs. I don't want to get into the details of that. We're working through some things that we don't have all the answers to, but yes, there has been some layoffs. And Elizabeth, maybe you can get, I think there were 7. I could be wrong on that number.
There were 7.
7, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Kana, what was the second part of that question?
Yes. The second part was, will EarthCorps be tapping into the emergency fund?
Right now, our hope is that we will not have to tap into the emergency fund. I can share Mark Clark, our development director, has done an amazing job of reaching out to funders. And since this news has come out, we have raised over $100,000. So it's pretty remarkable the work that's being done. And we hope to continue with this fundraising pitch moving forward.
I think the one thing I would just quickly add about the staff cuts is, and then it'd be good to move on, but the goal was to get small so that we could move forward, and every team at EarthCorps was deeply impacted by this. And yeah, I think recognizing that we were going to have to navigate some choppy waters ahead, and being small and nimble to do that was necessary. So.
Our next question is, will Corps members have capacity to run trainings or allow time for trainings? This seems like an opportunity for the community to step up.
So is the question about the Corps members running trainings?
Running trainings or allow time for trainings without capacity.
Yes, so there still will be training as part of the program. It is a key part of who we are and what we do. And Corps members continue to play a part in teaching each other, training each other. One element of our programming that will continue are our anti-racist working groups, where members select ideas to explore and within the topic of creating a more anti-racist world, and do that learning and then present those ideas to each other. All Corps has also really evolved into a beautiful thing where it's almost like a graduate level thesis of people talking about the work that they're doing, and what it means both to them, to the land, to the community. It's been a really cool thing to see. So that element of our training and our program will not go away, and our idea is to continue to find out how we deepen that.
Classic stay muted moment for me. Sorry about that. The questions keep rolling in, so I'll keep moving forward with them. Someone's asking if there will still be an international component to EarthCorps.
You want me to take this one, Shannon?
Yeah, why don't you take that?
Yeah. So there will always be an international component to EarthCorps because we have thousands and hundreds of alumni all over the world that never get to check out, right? And you know who you are. Jimmy, if you're on this call, I saw you. Anyway, we are in a tricky time to run international programming. We are putting our international program on pause for this year. I can share a couple of reasons about the why behind that. We did have some members in the pipeline set to come. We're in the process of getting visas. The whole visa process was different than I've ever seen it. Appointments getting canceled and rescheduled, canceled and rescheduled. We got a lot of rejections in this round. That coupled with the instability we're seeing in the State Department, the stories that we're all seeing on the news about the way people are being treated, people coming to the border with documents and also being turned away, and the realities of being someone of existing in our culture as we are right now, also made us question our ability and our capacity to keep people safe while they were here. So that Corps member safety, the unpredictability of the State Department, and the difficulty that we were seeing in the run up to people getting here, all were signs that we used to make the call to put the program on pause. We're going to reevaluate we're going to let a couple months go by. I think we'll see what happens with the State Department. But in early 2026, we will reevaluate for that year.
Next question I have here is, what are the 2025 Corps members doing now?
What are the 2025 Corps members doing now? Yes. Many of them are preparing to come into the office tomorrow at 2 p.m. To sign their offer letter paperwork and join a staff meeting and head back out into the fields and the community on Monday. Members were furloughed, or not, they weren't furloughed, their programs were terminated, but we stayed in contact. We had regular weekly check-ins with them during the time that things were shut down for us, giving them updates. And we have had a great return rate on our members signing back on with us. So we're excited to welcome them back tomorrow.
Can we just elaborate on that just for a moment? And
Mm-hmm.
just imagine if you, on a Friday afternoon at 5, with no notice, said your program is terminated with a legally contractual obligation that was approved by Congress with funding for the year.
Mm-hmm.
And 5 p.m., you find out that you have no more job, in essence. And that's what happened to these
Mm-hmm.
Corps members. And so for the past 3 weeks, they've been waiting and waiting. And I'm just so grateful for the fact that they have waited this long.
Mm-hmm.
To
Yeah.
wait 3 weeks without compensation or wondering what's happening, that's unprecedented. And so, yeah, I just want to
Yeah.
give all of our Corps members a huge shout out for just sticking through this as we are trying to navigate these changes. And so
Yeah.
I hope tomorrow is a happy day for some of those Corps members.
Yeah. Yeah. They have truly been fantastic.
Yeah.
And yes. And I'm excited to see what we can build together.
Yeah.
Yes, I know the thought of not being able to see your core again with a very abrupt notice on a Friday evening would be really difficult. So they have been great to stick with us as things get figured out. So I'm excited for them to be back in the office tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
The next question I have is, how can community partners support EarthCorps now?
Can you say that one more time?
How can community partners support EarthCorps now?
Oh, that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
I think community partners, I'm just going to share an example of how community partners can support. Tomorrow, my company, Experience Momentum, is closing our doors tomorrow afternoon. And we are going to donate funds to EarthCorps, and we're going to spend the afternoon doing a work party, restoring the environment. And so I think what we're looking at for all of us, all the communities we serve, is creating an awareness of what is happening to EarthCorps, what has happened to EarthCorps, how we can use our time, our talent, and our treasures to support the continued mission of this work. Yeah, and I don't think there's anything too little to help support. And I think communities, just sharing the work we're doing is super essential.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth, do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think I would add, and I will also bring the voices of Whitney and Miguel with me in a sincere gratitude expression. Like, we are so thankful for those community partners and agencies that have stepped up and said, what can we do? How do we help you get through this? Your grace, your understanding, your flexibility with our rescheduling over the last few weeks as we have had to rescale and figure out how to get started again is so huge. Like there is no way that we could thank you enough. And we're going to need a little more grace as we kind of get our feet running again. But our goal to you is to have that be as little as possible. But just this sense of community, and that we weren't alone in moving through this, that you saw us and that we were important to you and that you would work with us is huge. There aren't words. So thank you.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
All right, there are some longer questions I've been slightly avoiding because they're long, so bear with me while I get through this one with you. It's a multi-pronged question. It starts, as a partner, I'm grateful since our coalition has also been impacted by federal threats and cuts in contracts we had with EPA. Have you been in contact with the Washington AG office, the office of Pramila Jayapala, or Patty Murray?
You
I
want to
can
take
speak
that?
to the AG, and yes, we have been working with the Attorney General's office via Serve Washington. They have really a direct line to the State Attorney General as the State Service Commission, and so they have done a great job of listening to our needs and ensuring that they were reflected in the lawsuit that was brought forth.
Thanks. And then moving on to the second part of this person's question. They also want to know about the commitment to environmental justice. Is this still a strong commitment to continue working with community partners, especially the frontline community-based organizations? On what extent?
I will say from the board perspective, this is a conversation that we've had going through looking at the restructure. I know there's a fear of we've spent so much time. The last 3 years have been dedicated to building our community partners, working in marginalized communities. And are we, EarthCorps, going to stop doing that work and chase the dollar, if you will? And that's not going to happen. We are going to continue to prioritize our community partners and the work we're doing moving forward. And that part has been made very clear in our board meetings and working with the interim executive director, and I believe even at the director level. Thoughts on that, Elizabeth?
I think that you said it well. It is the conversation at the director level as well. This is our commitment.
All right, thank you. Our next question is, are you talking with the state about opportunities for EarthCorps staff and/or Corps members and how they can work on implementing conservation projects? Are you looking for other grant opportunities through NOAA, or sorry, the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation?
Yeah, so the question is, are we working with the state to pursue more funding? The answer to that is always yes. We are always talking with the state. Unfortunately, Washington State right now, it doesn't have the best budget outlook. And so this is something, as we've been in conversation with them, has been a reality. And we have strong relationships, right? And so even as that pie gets smaller, I think we are well represented in conversation and are well positioned to continue to partner with our state agencies. And you know, our next order of business is really to to continue to see what options are out there. For those of you who have reached out to say, how can we help? And you're coming to us from an agency perspective, we may not have been exactly ready to answer that question 2 weeks ago. We're ready now. And so we'll be reaching out, we'll be talking.
Great. All right. Our next question here is, we were collaborating as a high school with our Solidarity Retreat for our entire sophomore class at Red Barn Ranch, and some new initiatives with internships and EarthCorps' school program. Will those types of programs and projects be part of EarthCorps moving forward?
You want to take that, Elizabeth?
Yeah. Yes, they will be. I know that Miguel is working very hard. Miguel and his team, and Whitney and her team are working very hard to figure out how we are continuing to move those forward. They may have to look a little bit different as our staffing is smaller, and that's what we're trying to figure out right now. We want to ensure that what we're delivering is quality and impactful, and everybody can remain safe and engaged. Those are deep values that we have, and so we're having to adjust. But the commitment is there, the intention is there, and we're working hard to continue to deliver that.
Thank you. All right, our next question is, as a former International Corps member, I must admit this is truly devastating. How can we support internationally?
It's a great question. I have some thoughts. Shanon, do you have anything?
No, that's I'll let you take the lead if you have some thoughts on that one.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first thing is to reach out to each other. Reach out to your fellow alum and check in, right? I know that the love that we have for each other when we go through the Corps is deep, and life happens, and sometimes we get separated, but I just want to remind all the alum out there that this community doesn't end, and these ties are strong, and you never know what will come from reaching out. There's that connection, but then there's also great ideas, and you all are doing such fantastic things. And so I think reaching out, I think in this time when our program is on pause, helping us to keep connections in your countries alive, reaching out to us saying that you'd be willing to be an ambassador and help us recruit in a couple years or next year, would be so helpful, to keep the fire going and keep momentum there. So those are two things: get connected,
Yep.
be in community with each other, and then help spread the word of EarthCorps, and help stoke some excitement for when the program restarts.
Yeah, and I might just add like that, exactly that, like share the mission of EarthCorps, share it on your social media platforms, have some conversations. How can you maybe speak at local schools, environmental forums in your community, just about your experience and the impact that EarthCorps has had on your life? I think that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Sharing your story.
Yeah, and if any of you are willing to be connected to one of the group of potential international members that got paused, I think that kind of mentorship and connection would be really helpful right now. I know that they're disappointed, and finding a way in through you into the community would mean a lot to them. So reach out to me, Elizabeth@earthcorps.org.
These are the questions. So this one is related to the work that Nelson has been working on, namely the Thornton Creek noxious weed knockout project and the Duwamish River restoration sites, and how that work will continue moving forward.
So specific project question around Thornton Creek moving forward. And
Amish.
the Duwamish. For specific, sorry, it's been a long day and my talk is getting tired of talking. For specific projects, I would really suggest that you reach out to the person that you have been working with. I think it's probably Nelson. Oh, no, I just got a direct line. Whitney Bowman says, no changes. There are no changes. No changes. Thanks, Whitney.
Phone a friend. Thank you, Whitney.
All right. Well, I know we've had a lot of messages of support and gratitude that have come through the Q&A function, and not just questions. So I do want to echo those sentiments to both of you for your time, and to extend that beyond just the two of you into EarthCorps as a whole. It looks like we have made it through all of our questions, unless there are any lingering thoughts on people's minds and they'd like to submit anything else before we start wrapping things up. All right. Well, I'm not saying anything moving forward. So maybe I'll just hand it back to Shannon or Elizabeth to close us out on your end. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my closing would be, this is an opportunity for us to dig in. There's so much history, 30 years of history of EarthCorps, and the future has yet to be created. We get to recreate it. You get to be a part of that journey and help reimagine what is possible. So, of course, I'm going to invite you to dig into your social networks, share EarthCorps story, share the work they're doing in the community, share not only the restoration, but the community work, the communities we're working on, the impact that we have on those communities. And your support isn't just appreciated, it is essential, like truly essential right now. As I mentioned earlier, Mark, our development director, has raised over $100,000 in the past month. And you have an opportunity to continue to help EarthCorps rise from uncertainty to clarity. You get to get us out of this unknown phase of transition to this new beginning of where we're heading. And so we can do that. And we need your courage, commitment to help create this equitable world where all people and nature thrive together. So go to EarthCorps, hit the donate button, share the donate button on all your social media platforms, and let's do this. That's all I got.
And I think the last thing I'll just say is, again, gratitude, and just say that you all are EarthCorps, right? This community is EarthCorps. EarthCorps is an organization here in Seattle, but it is so much bigger than that. So thank you for all that you do to make this EarthCorps community, to make EarthCorps live. We wouldn't be here without you. So thank you.
Well said. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Well, thank you, Shannon and Elizabeth, for taking time to answer questions and share an update. I know it may feel like there is some lack of closure here. I think that will continue as EarthCorps continues to transition through these very turbulent times. And thank you for joining us tonight. I know that as a past Corps member, I know we spread out after we leave. Some of us are still here locally, some may be far away, some may be international, but we're being brought back together for a reason. And while this may not be the reason we were all hoping for, I think there's a lot of power in coming back together as one giant circle up around EarthCorps to help keep moving things forward. And I think it's important now more than ever to be in support of the community that is EarthCorps, whether it is staff who are working tirelessly to make it through this transition, or staff who have been impacted by these very disruptive changes. So please take care of one another, and know that this won't be the last time that we will come together to share updates and inform you all and keep you looped in as we continue moving through these changes. As Shannon mentioned, we have a new executive director starting this month, which is really exciting. Most likely our next Campfire Chat will be with her next month. So keep your eye out for an invitation to join that session and get to know a new executive director that will help shepherd and steward EarthCorps through this new chapter. And we're really looking forward to see everything that comes out of her leadership. So thank you everyone so much. Feel free to take off and enjoy the rest of your evening, and please, I think there is an open invitation if there are any lingering questions or thoughts that you can reach out to someone here at EarthCorps with more questions. But thank you so much.
Have a good night.